Think about the last time you bought something small. Maybe it was a coffee on the way to work, a $15 gadget you saw on a social media ad, or just paying that extra $5 for priority delivery because you wanted your food 10 minutes faster. In the moment, it felt like nothing, right? It's just a few dollars, it's a little treat. But here's a startling reality for 2026. The average person now spends over $5,000 a year on what economists call frictionless microtransactions. These are tiny daily choices that feel invisible, but are actually acting like 1,000 small leaks in a giant bucket. If you feel like you're working harder than ever, making a decent salary, but your net worth just isn't moving the way it should, you aren't alone, and it's likely not one big mistake holding you back. It's 8 specific, tiny habits that are quietly destroying your financial future. Let's talk about what they are, and more importantly, how we can fix them together. Welcome back to the channel. I'm really glad you're here today. Most personal finance advice focuses on the big stuff, buying a house, picking the right stocks, or negotiating a massive raise. And don't get me wrong, those things matter. But there's a concept we talk about a lot in investing called compounding. Usually, we talk about it in a positive way, how your money grows over time. But compounding has a dark side too. When you have a small, destructive habit that you repeat 365 days a year, that habit compounds negatively. It doesn't just cost you the $10 you spent today, it costs you the thousands of dollars that $10 could have become if it were working for you in an index fund. If you're like most people I talk to, you're not bad with money. You're just living in a world that has been perfectly designed to separate you from your cash as effortlessly as possible. Today, I want to pull back the curtain on 8 of these habits. We're going to look at the real numbers, tell a few stories, and I'll show you how a few small shifts in your daily routine can literally add hundreds of thousands of dollars to your net worth over the long run. Let's start with one that almost everyone is guilty of. I call it the daily little treat. Meet Sarah. Sarah works a stressful job, and she feels like she deserves a reward just to get through the day. Every morning, she stops for a specialty oat milk latte. It's $7. With a small tip, she's out $8.50. To Sarah, it's just $8.50. It's the price of a little bit of happiness. But let's look at the math Sarah isn't seeing. $8.50 a day, 5 days a week, is about $170 a month. Over a year, that's over $2,000. Now, if Sarah took that same monthly amount and tucked it into a simple S&P 500 index fund averaging 8% a year, in 30 years, she'd have over $250,000. Think about that for a second. Is that morning latte actually worth $250,000? The habit here isn't drinking coffee. The habit is using spending as a primary coping mechanism for stress. It feels harmless because it's a small amount, but it trains your brain to believe that every bad day requires a financial exit fee. My advice? Don't deprive yourself, but change the delivery. Invest in a high-quality espresso machine or a beautiful French press for your home. Make the ritual of brewing your own coffee the treat. You get the caffeine, you get the ritual, and you keep the $250,000. Habit number 2 is something that has become way too easy in 2026, the add to cart reflex. In the old days, if you wanted to buy something, you had to get in your car, drive to a store, find the item, and stand in line. That gave your brain plenty of time to ask, do I actually need this? Today, that friction is gone. Whether it's an ad on social media or a recommended for you item, we've developed a habit of buying small things, a $15 phone case, a $20 kitchen gadget, the moment the thought enters our head. You see it, you click it, and because your card information's already saved, the transaction's over before you've even exhaled. The hidden cost here isn't just the money, it's the clutter tax. Most of these impulse buys end up in a drawer or a landfill within 6 months. You're trading long-term freedom for a 3-second dopamine hit. To break this, try implementing the 72-hour rule. If you see something you want that isn't a necessity, add it to your cart, but you aren't allowed to hit buy for 3 full days. You'll find that 90% of the time, the impulse fades, and you'll realize you didn't actually want the item, you just wanted the feeling of buying something. Now let's talk about habit number 3, the convenience tax. Meet Mark. Mark is tired after work, so he pulls up a delivery app. He orders a burrito that cost $15 at the restaurant, but by the time you add the delivery fee, the service fee, the small order surcharge, and a tip for the driver, that $15 burrito is now a $28 burrito. If Mark does this just twice a week, he's spending an extra $100 a month just on fees and tips, not even the food itself. Over a decade, those fees alone, if invested, would be worth about $18,000. Mark is essentially paying for a used car every 10 years just to avoid driving 5 minutes to pick up his own food. We become so used to convenience that we've forgotten how much it's costing us. A better way is to make pickup only a rule for yourself. If you want takeout, you have to go get it. Not only does this save you 30% on every meal, but the slight inconvenience will actually encourage you to cook at home more often, which is the ultimate net worth builder.
Habit 4 is what I call subscription creep. It's the $10 for a streaming service you don't watch anymore, the $12 for an app you downloaded for one project, the $20 for a gym membership you haven't used since January. Companies love subscriptions because they bank on something called breakage, the fact that you'll forget to cancel. It's a passive drain on your wealth. Individually, they're small. Collectively, the average household in 2026 is spending over $200 a month on automated subscriptions. That's $2,400 a year that vanishes without you even making a conscious decision to spend it. Think about that. You're working multiple days every year just to pay for services you don't even use. Once every 3 months, I want you to go through your bank statement and look for any recurring charges. If you haven't used the service in the last 30 days, cancel it. You can always sign up again later if you truly miss it. Usually, you won't even notice it's gone. This next one is a bit more serious. It's the habit of only paying the minimum balance on your credit cards. You've probably done this without even realizing how much it's hurting you. It feels like you're managing your debt because you're making the payment on time and avoiding late fees. But with credit card interest rates hitting 25% these days, paying the minimum is like trying to put out a fire with a squirt gun. If you have a $5,000 balance and you only pay the minimum, it could take you over 20 years to pay it off, and you'll end up paying back double or triple what you originally borrowed. You aren't just destroying your net worth, you're literally selling your future labor to a bank at a massive discount. You are working for the bank rather than your money working for you. Treat your credit card like a debit card. If you can't pay the full balance at the end of the month, you can't afford the purchase. If you're already in debt, make it your #1 priority to pay even just $50 more than the minimum. That small increase can shave years off your debt timeline. Habit number 6 is lifestyle upgrades, or what some people call lifestyle creep. Imagine Alex. Alex gets a $10,000 a year raise. He's worked hard, and he feels he deserves to level up. So he moves into a slightly nicer apartment that costs $400 more a month, and he leases a newer car for an extra $300 a month. Suddenly, that $10,000 raise is gone. Alex's lifestyle is better, but his bank account looks exactly the same as it did before the raise. If you're like most people, your expenses naturally rise to meet your income, but this is the fastest way to stay stuck in the rat race. You're running faster, but staying in the same place. Practice what I call reverse compounding. When you get a raise or a bonus, take 50% of it and automate it directly into your savings or investments before you ever see it in your checking account. You can use the other 50% to enjoy your life. That way, you're upgrading your lifestyle and your future at the same time. Number 7 is a silent killer: comparison spending. In 2026, we're constantly bombarded with the highlight reels of everyone else's lives. We see our friends on vacation, our neighbors with a new kitchen, or influencers with the latest tech. There's a natural human urge to keep up. We start spending money we don't have to buy things we don't need to impress people who, to be honest, aren't even paying that much attention. The habit of checking social media and then browsing for something new is a direct pipeline to a $0 net worth. Remember that behind every perfect photo is a story you don't see. You don't see the car loan, the credit card debt, or the stress of living paycheck to paycheck. Focus on your own internal scorecard. Ask yourself, does this purchase actually make my life better, or am I just trying to look like I'm doing as well as someone else? True wealth is often invisible. It's the peace of mind that comes from having a solid foundation. Finally, habit number 8, flying blind. This is the habit of not tracking your daily expenses because you're afraid of what you'll see. You avoid looking at your bank app. You don't check your credit score. You just hope that at the end of the month there's enough left over. But here's the truth. You cannot manage what you do not measure. When you don't track your money, it tends to disappear into the cracks of those first 7 habits we talked about. Small expenses feel like zero because you aren't seeing the cumulative total. You're essentially walking toward a financial cliff with a blindfold on. I want you to spend just 10 minutes every Sunday morning reviewing your transactions from the week. Don't judge yourself or get angry, just look at the numbers. There's an incredible power in simply noticing where your money goes. Once you see it, the desire to change happens naturally. If you've realized you're doing several of these, take a deep breath. It's okay. Most of us were never taught this stuff in school. The world is literally designed to make these habits feel normal. But now that you see them, they lose their power over you. Building a high net worth isn't about being a millionaire overnight. It's about plugging those small leaks so that your hard-earned money can actually stay in your bucket and start growing. I want to challenge you this week. Don't try to fix all 8 at once. Just pick one. Maybe it's the 72-hour rule for online shopping, or maybe it's finally canceling those 3 subscriptions you don't use. Which one of these hit you the hardest? Which one are you going to tackle first? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one, and I'd love to hear your plan. If you found this helpful, it would mean a lot if you hit the like button and subscribe. It helps the channel more than you know, and it ensures you don't miss our next deep dive into building the life you want. Thanks for watching. I'm rooting for you. I'll see you in the next one.